From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening, and thank you for tuning into our broadcast. Our top story this evening: Alaska State Troopers say a truck driven by a 20-year-old Forrest Hermans of Tok hit a Humvee that was turning into a parking lot at Midway Lodge near Salcha on Tuesday.
They say the truck went into the parking lot and struck Zachary New as he was getting out of a parked Humvee. New was taken to an Anchorage hospital with what were described as life-threatening injuries. Last week, another accident involving a military vehicle occurred. Army soldier Joshua Anderson was driving a Stryker vehicle that collided with a van, injuring the van's driver.
Sure, anybody who lives in Alaska, especially the Alaskan interior with negative 50-degree temperatures last week, has experienced degraded road conditions and what it's like to travel on those kind of roads with or without winter tires, and it does affect the way civilian vehicles and Stryker vehicles behave on the roads. And we make sure that we teach our soldiers and train our soldiers on how to mitigate the risk of having an accident in these kind of conditions.
The State Task Force on Human Trafficking met Monday in Anchorage to discuss the recommendations that they will include in their final report to the legislature. News Center 11's Monty Bowen has more on the subject in this report.
The group has spent much of the year holding public meetings in communities most affected by trafficking. State Senator Liesl McGuire was instrumental in getting the study done.
This particular group has been meeting over the interim, and I want to thank the men and women who have tirelessly met all across the state of Alaska in small villages and in our urban centers around the state, and they'll come back with a report to this legislature.
The governor's proposed legislation to deal with those involved in trafficking.
The folks who target minors in particular to register as sex offenders, and an innovative approach that we've looked at, which is to require court-ordered global positioning satellite tracking of those who are required to register as abusers.
Rural Alaska women are often targeted by sex traffickers. McGuire said it's an issue that has to be dealt with.
You know, it was just appalling that we had these kind of statistics that the women and children in our state were still being abused and raped at the alarming rates that they were.
Trafficking is not uncommon. 3 people were arrested in one case in Alaska last month. Monty Bowen, News Center 11.
A local family is selling their home in a unique way. Rather than putting the house on the market, they decided to have some fun with it and reward their home to a lucky person. Laurel and Gordon Carlin have opened a nationwide essay contest. The reward, their home. Each entry costs $100, and the subject of the entry, they say, is up to the writer.
No real subject, but it's just what you, why you think you should have the house. It could be what you plan to do with the house, or why you need the house, or just a good reason why you think you should have the house.
The family is looking for an essay that stands out.
Every essay is going to be totally different. So with me, I would really want to, I guess, like sincerity. You know, the essay could be, maybe it's witty, maybe it's funny, maybe it's, heartbreaking, maybe it's a great idea. So, I mean, we're not just looking for like people's like, it's not a pity party. We're not looking for people's like, tragedies, or it's just every person's going to be different.
Although there is a minimum requirement of 3,000 essays, they have encountered questions as many people believe this couldn't be real and there has to be some, quote, fine print.
There's no catch. You write your essay, it's a $100 entry fee. If you get picked, you win the house, free and clear. It's a once-in-a-lifetime chance. I mean, not too many chances that come up like this, especially where we live.
Very interesting.
Very interesting.
I would like to enter myself.
You should just write a little essay about how awesome Stephanie is.
Or, that could be a possibility. Let's turn our attention now to weather, and much more interesting. Mike Schultz is standing by with a first look at that.
What does it got to do with the house? Writing about Stephanie. I can't figure that, tie those together. Wasn't a bad day across the interior. A few flakes of snow. We got more coming. Here's why. You look at the latest radar. You can see we're having a big pocket of moisture moving in from the west. It's been snowing off and on around the Indiana area. More is coming our direction, but nothing really heavy. Maybe an inch. That's about it. We're looking at this pattern to continue for the next couple of days. And yes, the mild temperatures are also going to continue. Now, last night we told you about the lower 48 setting up for a lot of bad weather. Well, it all came together. A big day today for weather-wise across the lower 48. We'll tell you all about that and all the weather in general later on. Daryl, Stephanie?
Very well. Thank you, Mike. Now, when we come back, a local man enters pleas to a kidnapping charge.
And deciding what type of schools is right for your family. Stay with us.
This edition of the Fairbanks Evening News is brought to you by Northland Hearing Services. Better hearing with a human touch.
Welcome back to the Fairbanks Evening News. Not guilty pleas for a 21-year-old local man connected to a domestic dispute involving his girlfriend earlier this month. Dillon Paul Sherry is charged with kidnapping and 3 counts of felony assault in the 2nd degree. Fairbanks police say the alleged victim was choked on a number of occasions and held against her will at a 5-hour period of time on January 13th. She told police they were getting along well when Sherry became upset that she was tired and did not want to stay up and watch him play video games. In several on-again, off-again attacks, she said he choked her, threw her around, and stopped her if she tried to get dressed to leave the home. Trial in his case is set for early April.
School's Choice is an opportunity for the Fairbanks North Star Borough School District to showcase alternative programs for parents looking for an option outside of the traditional schools. Today in the school district's boardroom, schools of choice within the districts came and put out some of their items and talked to folks about what educational services they could provide. This is the second year for the exhibit, which last year's resulted in numerous recruitments of students. Officials with the program say that School's Choice is very successful in achieving its goal for parents.
And a lot of times folks are in competition with one another for those students, where these are all district programs, so whether they're going to one of the charter schools, the correspondence school, or the magnet schools, we want to make sure they get good information about that school and the district, so we kind of collaborate to make it happen.
This week, Fort Wainwright has been conducting its emergency preparedness exercise, Ice Fog 2013. The news center has more in today's military report. However, some of the images may contain graphic material, so please be advised. Operation Ice Fog is an exercise aimed at better preparing the emergency services personnel on and around Fort Wainwright. Real-life situations are simulated.
We received a call that there was an active shooter at Building 1004. We moved to Building 1004. We set up, we stacked up. Once we were inside the building, we moved inside. We saw a lone gunman. He had a hostage, shot the hostage, and then moved down the hallway, and we eliminated the threat, secured him, and then from there we just cleared the rest of the building and checked on all the casualties, ma'am.
The soldiers were instructed to perform as though this was a real-life scenario. The actors and participants certainly made it feel that way.
It was pretty intense. I mean, you got to kind of, in a way, just tune them out, because you know that the first thing you got to do is eliminate the threat. That's the biggest deal. I actually think this is great real-world training, because stuff like this does happen. So it allows myself as a patrol soup and my soldiers to make sure that we're trained up, we know what we're doing, we're not fumbling around when we go in the building, and just kind of realizing what we have to do and what it's going to be like.
Exercises like this include a lot of preparation. USARAC Commanding Officer Major General Garrett came to observe the scenario as well. Watching and taking notes on the emergency personnel and how they handled the real-life situation was just part of the mission.
Now, there's a lot of preparation. It starts days in advance, to get the role players, to coordinate ammunition, because we use simunitions, we don't use live rounds. These are gelatinized projectiles that fire similar to a live round. However, they make a paint splatter, much the same as a paintball gun. Important for soldiers and the community to participate in events like this, because it does assist both the community and the soldiers in executing specific tasks like, unfortunately, an active shooter.
The Military Report is brought to you by Stanley Nissan. Innovation for all.
You know, even if that was just an exercise, still
that was very
intense.
Yeah. I was very shocked to see how real it felt.
Yeah.
They did a really good job.
Well, so did you.
Fort Wainwright, you
well
were safe in their hands, that's for sure.
Okay, after the break, Joe Cook coming up next in sports. Stay with us.
Cooking it up.
Brought to you by the Law Office of Rita T. Alley. Peace of mind through professional legal services.
Hello, Interior Alaska. It's Joe Cook here once again. The sports seat for you on this hump day. The biggest weekend in sports is almost here. But first, let's tackle today's sports. Former Alaska Natick men's basketball coach Al Soskaitis was recently named the men's and women's national programs basketball coach of Tanzania, a republic located in East Africa. Officials there say the highly decorated veteran head coach is being brought in to aid the republic's dreams of bringing basketball to a competitive world level to the 2016 Summer Olympic Games in Rio. During his collegiate coaching career, which spans more than 20 years, Soskaitis appeared in 7 NCAA tournaments and won 6 conference titles with 3 different programs. He was awarded Conference Coach of the Year 11 times in his career. In addition, Soskaitis earned 8 wins against Division I programs with his Division II teams, including a tournament title in the 2002 BP Top of the World Classic here in Fairbanks. Soskaitis led the Natick to 3 wins in as many days over Wisconsin, Green Bay, Nebraska, and Weber State. Soskaitis is currently the head coach at Post University located in Waterbury, Connecticut. The News Center will have more on this story, including a reaction from Al Soskaitis this weekend. In high school basketball, we had some 2A action last night. The game of the night, number 1 Nenana at number 2 Effie Cochran. The Lynx were up 33-27 at the half, but it was a tight fourth quarter. Had to put them on blast. Derek Terry of Effie scored for Nenana there, but Terry made up for it with the big game. Price Lewitt was dropping threes all night as well. The Warriors cut it to 2 with a Joshua Fisher shot with 3 minutes left. Nenana would answer with a bucket of their own. Then Price was fouled late from 3 and made 2 free throws. It's 59-61. Nenana inbounds with 8 seconds left, but no one fouls. They lay it in for a 63-59 win.
Because we're able to respond so well, we're able to have really good chemistry. It makes it a lot easier to work together to be able to win, of course.
You know, we didn't capitalize in some areas we should have, and we shot a lot of 3-pointers tonight. We should have gone at them a little bit. I give much praise to Nenana. Considering the first time we played them, they beat us by about 15 points. We definitely stepped up tonight. My team, dug deep, and I'm very proud of my boys.
Well, Effie played their hearts out, and they had the home crowd behind them. They hit a lot of threes, but our boys didn't get down. Some calls went against them. They've been doing that lately, so they're a young team, and they're starting to learn how to play tight games.
The girls' game between Nenana and Effie Cochran was entertaining as well. Nenana established themselves, getting on the break and going to Tori Carlo, who had 9 points in the first half. Nenana was up 27-14 at the half. The makings of a blowout, right? Not so fast. Evelyn Tanapy went off scoring 8 points to start a 10-0 run in the third for Effie Cochran. That's as close as the Warriors would get as the Lynx would go again to Carlo, and the Lynx defense and rebounding resulted in some more fast break points. The final 47-30.
Well, we played defense and we got aggressive, and it was hard, but it was a good game. As captain, I had to be a leader and just give it my all.
We got our big NIT tournament coming up this weekend. We got some 3A schools coming into that, so they learn how they can handle adversity after being up by almost 15, 20 points, and then have them come back that close and then reestablish themselves. It should give them some confidence going into the tournament.
Now, the Natick men's basketball team will be back in the Patty Center this Thursday and Saturday with 2 chances to get back on track. The Nanicks have lost their last 3 games and on Thursday faced Northwest Nazarene, who has dropped their last 4. The Crusaders are led by Kenny Jones, the 5th-ranked scorer in the GNAC with a little over 15 points per. They also feature forward Kevin Rima, a former All-State standout from Hutchinson High School right here in Fairbanks. On Saturday comes Central Washington. The Wildcats have won 3 of their last 4. It will be a 4 versus 5 GNAC matchup after this homestand. 7 games remain in the regular season. Both games tip at 7 p.m. The women's team are on the road vying for upsets over number 5 Western Washington and number 13 Simon Fraser. And that'll do it for sports tonight. Thanks for rocking with me for a little while. On tomorrow's Sportscast, we'll have a story on the upcoming Yukon Quest. For more KTVF Sports, just go to Twitter, YouTube, our mobile app, and webcenter11.com. So stay cool, Alaska. Mike Schultz has your full weather forecast coming up next, and we'll catch you next time.
Hey, welcome back to Fairbanks Evening News. It's time for weather. I'm Mike Schultz, along with a beautiful picture tonight. This one's sent in by Joyce Billups, sunset at Fort Wainwright. Beautiful architecture there in the background, and the sun way back there. Beautiful colors, too. If you have a photograph to send, by all means, send it to me at MikeSchultz@KTBF11.com. Here's what's going on at the airport right now. 9 degrees. That is our high for the day. The low last night, 10 below. Record high, 38, 1985. Record high. Record low, 56 below in 1947. Sunrise this morning was at 9:42. The sunset not quite at 4:30, which works out to 6 hours and 47 minutes of beautiful sunshine, a gain of 7 minutes from yesterday. Here's our satellite picture, and you can see a lot of moisture. Once again, a lot of warm air coming up from the south, all being driven by a high-pressure ridge sitting over the Gulf of Alaska. That's helping to funnel some of this moisture in and give us a little possibility of light snow here. There's nothing really heavy. They are getting some freezing rain down around the Anchorage Bowl area. Not too ugly, not too nice down there. As you can see on our satellite picture, or our actually map, we should say, rain and snow across southeast Alaska. Cloudy skies over the Gulf of Alaska, and temperatures very warm, 41 degrees at Kodiak. Up and down the west coast, a little more opportunity for snow shower activity around Nome and the Bethel area. Clear skies at Barrow, and partly cloudy skies at Fort Yukon, 13 below. Well, lower 48 weather, we were talking about last night, a huge storm system that really gave the folks over in much of the country a lot of weather last night. Here's what it looks like on the satellite and radar. You can see the jet stream driving way down to the south, picking up that moisture and just slamming it over the east coast. Right now it is across the Great Lakes, but earlier today it brought a lot of damage to much of the deep south. You'll see that on the NBC Nightly News tonight, with the tornadoes are being reported there. Another system moving across the Pacific Northwest. This system is going to become, once again, very well organized, 90 to 100 mile an hour gusts across much of the New England area tomorrow. And the overall outlook for this weekend, again, the jet stream bringing a lot of cold air down from Canada all the way down into the Tennessee Valley. Well, back to Alaska for tomorrow. As you can see here, we're looking in the northern sections, increasing clouds for Barrow, snow showers in Nome, about an inch of snow at Fort Yukon tomorrow. Here in the interior, we'll be looking at, for the most part, scattered snow showers and above zero temperatures for both Fairbanks and Healy. Over southeast Alaska, looks like rain and snow in Juneau and periods of rain at Ketchikan. Over to the southwest, we'll be looking at partly cloudy skies for Cold Bay and Bethel, mostly cloudy skies in Kodiak Island. And over the south central regions, again, 2 to 4 inches of snow in Anchorage, rain and snow at Homer, and more snow for Valdez. Once again, time for our kids' weather. And this week we're talking with the kids from Tuckasuk Brown Elementary School. Tonight, a young man has a question for me about weather.
Hi, I am Riley. I am from Miss Nelson's 3rd grade class in Tuckasuk Brown Elementary, and my question for the weatherman is, what is the best time of the year to see the northern lights?
Normally you don't associate auroras with weather, but because weather plays a role in when you can see them, the best time to see them obviously is from like September through March. You have good clear evenings and perfect conditions with a lot of opportunity for some northern lights. Tomorrow night, the teacher has a unique weather fact to share with us, and we'll be looking forward to that. Here is your forecast for tonight. 1 degree for the overnight lows, scattered snow showers, and like I said, not quite as cold as it was last night. 11 degrees for the high tomorrow, continued cloudy and mild with snow showers, and the extended forecast. Again, looking at temperatures above normal, and maybe some snow showers again on Saturday. Overnight lows cooling off down to the teens below by the end of the 5-day period, but all in all, pretty nice compared to what we just went through. We are looking at temperatures to continue to be above normal, and that looks like it's going to last at least for the next 10 days, the way the long-range outlook is calling for.
And we'll be well into February during that time. Got to stick it out for another month and a half before.
And then we're done.
Yeah,
exactly.
Pretty much.
Looking pretty good.
I'm really liking that forecast.
Yeah.
It's looking good.
All right. Thanks a lot. Weather good. That'll wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. As always, we are glad you could join us.
Tonight on NBC Nightly News, a massive outbreak of severe storm tornadoes, and just like Mike said, tear through the south. That's next with Brian Williams.
Reminder for all our news, sports, and weather, check out webcenter11.com and
from all of us here at the News Center.
Oh, the app.
Oh.
Don't forget the app.
The app. And from all of us here at the News Center, have a good night.
I set the table for you.